Sit tall and fold the palms. Keep the brain quiet and close the eyes. योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचां मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि आबाहुपुरुषाकारं शङ्खचक्रासिधारिणं सहस्रशिरसं श्वेतं प्रणमामि पतञ्जलिं हरिः ओम्. Release the hands and open your eyes. While learning asanas and going towards pranayam, we need to look at the importance of sequencing, which is one of the important lessons that Guruji has given. When we are practicing asanas, they need to be done precisely. So, you are considering how you align your asana. You have to consider the timing, the time that you are spending in asana, and the third is the sequence, the order do you do. Patanjali defines sthira sukham asanam. The second one he says prayatna shaithilya ananta samapattibhyam. And the last one about asanas he says tato dvandvo anabhigataha. To achieve all three, these three aspects in Iyengar Yoga, in Guruji's teachings, are very important. Precision, the way you do an asana, timing, the time you spend in it, at what time do you do that asana, and sequencing is that, where you are changing the order of it. Now, if we think about what is sequencing, there are different aspects to it. The first aspect we will look into is if we are progressing from a simpler asana towards a little more complicated asana, how do we lead towards it? Say Urdhva Dhanurasana, or some schools call it Chakrasana. If we have to reach to that, it is not directly that we jump onto Chakrasana or Urdhva Dhanurasana as we call it. We have to build towards it. So, when you are going for say grade 10th exam, you have gone through from first, second, third, so on and so forth. So, now we will look how that progression happens with a particular sequence. We will start with Bhujangasana. So, lie on your abdominal area, lie flat, extend your leg one by one. So, make sure that your entire front body is well elongated, there is no catch anywhere there. You can keep your feet apart to start with, and as your practice progresses, you can do it with feet together, but for time being keep your feet apart about a hip width. Adjust yourself in such a manner, you can press your palms, slightly pull your frontal body away from the pelvic area. So, from the hips to the heels towards the legs, you are keeping it stable. Like the cobra has the back side, the rest of the body firm, and then from there the cobra raises the hood, it comes up. So, bring your spine up because it is Bhujangasana. So, being on your thighs, straighten your arms, exhale, and then look up as well. Raise your eyes, find out how that back body is coming closer to the front body, how the spine has to get that suppleness, and then exhale and go down. We obviously have to do few more rounds of it before we go to the next one. However, now we will just simply press the hands. Now you can bring the feet closer, exhale, bring your torso up as well as lift your thighs up for Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Now to increase the intensity, you can walk in with your feet, walk in with your toes and lift your front body. Suck your knees, suck your thighs. Find out from Bhujangasana to Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, how did it change? What difference did it make? How did it progress further? Now exhale, just kneel there. From there, stand on your knees. Again, those who find it difficult to keep the feet together may keep your knees, feet a little apart. Put your hands on your hips and curve yourself. So you have to create that lift of the frontal body and pull your arms back. Learn to exhale, abdomen soft, abdomen quiet, but at the same time see that you are getting that long abdomen, as they call Ganesh Lambodara, create that length of the abdominal body. Now push that hip, push that buttock forward and begin to arch. Find out as a continuation of Bhujangasana, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, we are coming to Ushtrasana. Find out how that arching is continued and increased intensity. Then release your palms one by one, put your palms on your feet, push your hips forward and ascend that front body from the back body. Feel your shoulder blades pushing the lungs up, feel your diaphragmatic area getting elongated. Exhale, abdomen quiet, inhale and lift the chest. Now from your ankle pressure, push your hips forward, learn to sway there a little and then exhale, inhale and come up. As you progress from one asana to the next one, I hope you are able to notice how sequencing makes a difference. For the next one, Urdhva Dhanurasana, you lie on your back. So lie on your back, put your palms near the shoulders, walk in with your feet, keep your feet firmly pressed against the floor. If you need to hold your ankles and bring the ankles in, do so. Place your palms almost under the shoulders. Keeping the palms firm, keeping the feet firm, see that your shoulders and upper arms, your thighs and your hips, your shins and your forearms, that is the base for your Urdhva Dhanurasana to become taller. Your spine will be carried by your legs and arms. Exhale, inhale and with the next exhalation push yourself up. You can lift your heels to start with, be on your palms, straighten the elbows and push the pelvic area higher and higher. Learn to exhale, push that pelvic area up, maintain that lift of the hips, pull your spine upward and maintaining that hip area up, land your heels down. Exhale, inhale and expand that chest. Keep the neck quiet, keep the brain quiet, keep the throat quiet and raise yourself up. Then allow yourself to bend the knees, bend the elbows further and land yourself on your back. If you noticed, starting from Bhujangasana to Urdhva Dhanurasana, how a sequence makes a difference. As Patanjali speaks about Prayatna Shaithilya Ananta Samapattibhyam, we cannot expect that once we do one asana, we know it we understand it, we have learnt it. We have to repeat and do that asana over and over again, and that is what will reduce the prayatna, the efforts. We need to practice so much with vigor in such a manner that we get over that effortful condition of an asana. When we are learning an asana, when we are learning a pranayam, it is not going to happen that it is going to come to us at a snap of a finger. We have to put in the effort, and that is where what works is learning single asana from different directions. As you saw a sequencing which was gradually increasing the intensity to reach to a particular asana, there can be a practice where one single asana, like you can approach one city from different sides, one single asana can be approached from different directions. We will take an example of Bakasana. Bakasana to start with can be done from squatting down in Malasana. So, we have to squat down in Malasana, get the curvature, we have to almost get underneath ourselves. We have to learn to be that much quiet, that much humble to be in that position. So, learn to exhale and come to proper Malasana first. Then you have to release and keep your palms down. Now, your feet cannot be heavy. So, you have to learn to accept that your feet are going to be in the air. Exhale, shift your body weight, lift your heels, come on to your hands. And then descend and go back to Malasana. So, that is one approach road how we can come to Bakasana. The second may be a little more complicated, a little more challenging path that has to come is from Shirshasana. So, for these arm balancings, you go to another Shirshasana variation, which is called open palm Shirshasana or Mukta Hasta Shirshasana. Patanjali has given different modus operandi, different tools. Tapas, Swadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhanani, Kriya Yogaha. In Ashtanga Yoga, there are 8 limbs, as Guruji refers to them as 8 petals. One cannot neglect, should not neglect all the other limbs and get caught only in the field of asanas. Performing asanas, learning asanas is necessarily the beginning, they are the means, and we also need to understand that without practice of pranayam, learning of asanas is not sufficient. But learning only pranayam or thinking so, that also is not sufficient. As a yoga sadhaka, as a practitioner, we need to give due to your asana practice as well as your pranayama practice. While you are practicing these two, we can experience, explore the other limbs which do not have direct practicing available. For pranayama, it is very easy to just say inhale deeper, exhale deeper, so on and so forth. We need to have training to do so. That training begins in asana. Having learned asanas to certain degree, then we need to pursue practice of pranayama. To learn pranayama, today, now, we will learn a few supine asanas. While lying down position, how a particular breath movement can be observed a little more easier. That observation is absolutely important to develop sensitivity, and with that sensitivity we have to move on to practice pranayama, to learn pranayama. You are going to take regular pillow and a blanket. You can lay it in such a manner that that entire length of the blanket you are able to have, or a pillow, just keep it lengthwise, which is going to support your torso, and you will use one blanket for your head and neck. Sit closer to the blanket in simple cross legs or sukhasana as it is called, or swastikasana. Keep a little bit gap between where you are sitting and the blanket itself. You are going on the back, and that blanket should come in such a manner under your back where it is about your mid of the torso. So, make sure that your buttock area is released downwards and that blanket is supporting your half upper back, which is behind your chest. Keeping that support, tuck your shoulders as if someone is pressing that top of the shoulder down, and then release your upper arms, elbows and forearms. Make sure that the blanket for your neck and head is properly supporting your neck and head. Release your arms to the side. With your legs in swastikasana or sukhasana, allow the legs to gravitate. If you want, you may keep a bolster or a blanket on your thighs that help you to deflate and descend your thighs quietly. Keeping your palms facing up, roll that outer upper arm area down. When you are designing your house, you make sure that you have proper ventilation. Similarly, arranging this simple supine position, arranging it properly will make an impact on the ventilation, which is your inhalation, exhalation and the turnovers or the crossovers as I was referring to. Completely close your eyes. Feel your muscular body starting with your limbs getting released and relaxed. As that upper part of the torso is supported by the blanket, watch if you are able to feel the wide chest inhaling with a slight slope that is generated because of the blanket support on the spine, lower spine. Watch when you exhale if that abdominal area gets a sliding effect. Inhale in the chest, exhale with abdominal area getting released. Make sure that your arms and legs remain absolutely quiet. Your face, your forehead, your eyebrows, your cheeks, your jaw, the entire throat region is quietly restful. Allow your eyes to gravitate inward. Now watch that inhalation and exhalation. As you exhale, let the softness spread all over. When you are lying down in a supine position, which is working towards pranayam, we need to remember that it should be unbiased. Don't be biased and hard anywhere in your physical body, in your mental body. Just learn to observe. If you are sitting on a cliff top, you can see the birds flying in the sky from one side of the horizon, just floating, just soaring on the other side. Let your breath soar through your chest and the torso. Without getting engaged, without getting egoistic about it, just learn to observe how the inhalation is happening and how the exhalation is happening. Receive that inhalation. Quietly exhale. As the food nourishes us, it keeps us going. Breath is even important life force. If the breath stops, life stops existing. So, appreciate that incoming breath which gives us that energy. Appreciate that exhalation which helps us to release the things which we need to release, let go of. Keep the brain quiet. Have a quiet inhalation. Let it fill in to you, and then have a quiet exhalation. Quiet, long inhalation, quiet, long exhalation. Find the restfulness that sets in. Find the quietness that sets in. Stay there for another few cycles. Have a quiet inhalation, filling in. One by one, bring your palms closer. Bring the knees up, legs together. Do not rush to come out of Shavasana or Supinasana. What is settled should not get disturbed, even though physically you release the position. Turn to the side and sit up. For sitting pranayama, sit on a little bit of height. I have sat on just a couple of blankets. You can sit on a pillow or a small bolster. Allow your thighs, legs to descend quietly. So, what you learned in supine Supta Swastikasana, see that the legs do not bulge up. So, maintain that quietness. Keep your arms broad, keep your chest broad. Maintain the tallness of the spine and close your eyes. Feel the stability in your sitting. Feel the width at the rib cage, vertical lift of your torso. Keeping your palms on your knees a little broader. Hold your upper arms, shoulders also broad, which will help to maintain that width of the chest. Exhale and gradually bring your face, head down towards the chest. Having done that blanket supported inhalation, now observe, keeping the head, brain completely quiet, feel your inhalations and exhalations while you are sitting. Let the inhalation get filled in and observe how that fills in. In which areas does that inhalation reach? So, let that inhalation get fully felt, and then maintaining the structure, exhale. The next inhalation, have it a little fuller, and just before you exhale, just pause. Like if you throw a ball up in the air, it goes up, 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 and for a very small fraction of time, it is neither going up nor coming down. Similarly, after the inhalation, watch that pause where you are neither inhaling nor exhaling. Find out if you are able to watch that pause after the inhalation, and then quietly exhale. Shoulders broad, sit tall, brain quiet, eyes quiet, inhale. Watch that inhalation as the ball goes up, and then after the inhalation is over, watch that zero gravity point where it is neither going up nor coming down. Watch that pause and then exhale. Go for 3 such consecutive cycles where you will have a little fuller inhalation. Watch the pause and then quietly exhale. And after 3 such cycles, release the chin from the chest and straighten the head and open the eyes. Lie down in Shavasana. Always end your practice, end your session with calming down, cooling down Shavasana. Lie down, close your eyes and simply let go. Then bring your hands in. Bend your legs. Turn to the side and get up. And that's all for this session.